Hi, I'm Dorothy Godin, broker with Remax Crown Realty here in Sudbury, and welcome to Thursday Thoughts and welcome to May. April, turns out, was a really great month for residential real estate within the city of Greater Sudbury. We had 174 residential sales, which is awesome. And certainly we're seeing all the signs of a very brisk spring market. Almost 60% of everything sold at or above list price. If you take the average sale price for this month, it came out to 555,000. But I caution you, we had 9 sales over $1 million, and when that happens, and it's unusual to have 9 in a month, but anyways, we had 9, and I just caution you that, that really can screw up the average sale price. So what I did was, let's take out those 9 and deal with the average sale price when you take out the 9 that sold over 1 million, and our average sale price was 513, and that feels right. It's been very brisk on average. Again, when you take out those 9, on average, houses are selling 4% above list, and we're seeing many multiple offers. We're seeing anywhere from 4 to 10 offers coming in on properties, and even on the higher end, we're seeing multiple offers. So year to date, we have seen a 10% increase in average sale price, and that's doing the adjustment of taking out those 9 higher end ones, and we have 1.1 month of inventory. So, people keep asking, are we going to see a reduction in average sale price? And really, in my experience, and I've been doing this since 1995, unless we get a whole bunch of listings coming in, we're not going to see average sale price fall. We have 1.1 month of inventory, which is a strong seller's market. So I know that it's very frustrating, for buyers who are in a multiple situation. They put in, what they think are great offers, and many times they are great offers, and they get outbid. And what I'm seeing more often than not, the person who is successful in obtaining that house usually is coming in with an offer with no conditions. And I recognize, and I feel really bad for buyers because, especially first time home buyers, they don't have the ability to come in with no conditions. They want to do a home inspection because often they're buying houses that are, of course, not new. First time home buyer, if you're looking 500 and under, these are not new houses. So you would hope that you could do a home inspection, and we are encouraging people to do pre-inspections. But when you're at the point where I'm now at a point where I've lost count of how many offers I'm writing for some of my buyers. You can't be paying for a pre-inspection every time you write an offer. It's just financially not feasible. So it's super hard because they need the financing clause, because usually their financial person will say, listen, we have to see that it appraises, it has to go through the underwriter. Very, very difficult. And then, when you're in a multiple situation as a buyer, I would say, come in as clean as you can, and know your market and know where you're comfortable with your pricing. I know that, on average, things are selling 4% above list price. We do the research, we can see what happened. What I'm finding is, when you do the research and I look at, what's sold since January in that area, and invariably, that's great, but that's historical. That's what happened, yesterday. And what we're seeing is prices are going up and up. So you really have to look at that research and come in as clean as possible. If you're coming in with no conditions, but you have all these representations and warranties that you want the seller to sign off on, that's a problem for me. If you remember, years ago, we used to do seller property information statements where the seller would, initial, have you had any water problems? Have you had any electrical problems? And it would be like, it's a couple of pages long. And lawyers have long since said, stop doing those. We do have a duty to disclose. You, as a seller, you have to disclose anything that especially latent things that you can't see, but you as a seller know you have to disclose them. But to put those representations and warranties as a buyer on an offer, and you're competing, that's it's not going to fly with most sellers. The other thing I'm seeing is seller to leave the premise in a clean and broom swept manner. I'm seeing that in offers, and I can tell you that for the most part, when my sellers see that, especially when their house is already immaculate, as a buyer, you've seen the house, you see how they taken care of the house. For the most part, most sellers, we tell them, like the house has to shine and it has to shine on the day of closing too. And most people, that's common sense. So when they see this clause that says, leave the premise in clean and broom swept manner, and you're competing, it's almost the seller sees that as very rude. So I would be very careful. You do, as a buyer, get a chance to do a final walkthrough, and you do that final walkthrough a few days before closing. And if you get in that house and it doesn't look like it did when you bought it, then, we can deal with that. We can deal with that. You don't need that clause because, especially in a multiple situation, sellers are looking for clean offers where you're not asking a whole lot of them. um, Cleaner the better. And I know how frustrating that is. It's frustrating for us. It's frustrating for all our buyers too. Anyways, the market is super busy. We need listings. With only 1 month of inventory, our price is not going to change until we get more inventory. So I hope you find this helpful. Welcome to the spring market. And as always, you can reach me at Dorothy Godin at remax.net or 705-561-2360. Have a great week.